at it at episode 293 Off the Cuff Radio. We hitting y'all with a doubleheader tonight. That was my man, Trill Will, with Come Get It. And the other track that we played before that was Lay Low. So, before we bring him on, T-Max, let them know who we sponsored by and give us the call number. And anybody want to chime in?
Definitely. As always, this is Off the Cuff Radio, man. We are sponsored by Buddy Boy Entertainment and, of course, Da Vinci Clothing, two of the best brands in the land. And got to bring up the number again. Hold tight 1 second. There we go.
Yeah, we got the number.
And of course,
so that way
yes, sir. And of course, our number is 1516-531-9596 for you to call in, hit one on the queue, the quarter to chime in with us, conversate, chop it up. All types of conversation is great. And I guess we're going to go ahead and bring on our next guest, man. Go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about him.
Yes, sir, we Bob. Now, first of all, before we go and do that, we want to send a big shout-out to our girl, Magical Meela, one of the hardest working women in this industry right here.
Yes,
she go hard when it comes to promoting, when it comes to bigging up these new artists coming in, and also bringing us guests as well. We going to put some respect on her name right
here. Yes, one of our day ones for sure. Shout out to Meela.
Mm-hmm. But this man right here, I'm talking, when you talking about somebody that's wearing all hats, this man plays more positions in the court than LeBron James, my nigga. This man is a CEO. He's an artist. He's an executive producer. He's an A&R for Savage Life Entertainment. And he's here right now running Full Circle Music Group, bossed up. And he's putting up numbers like the late Kobe Bryant. He putting up 81 right now. So let's bring my man, Trill Will, y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate the intro.
Man, look, we appreciate you
I'm like, man, you wearing more
hats
than LeBron on a regular night, man. Like point guard, shooting guard, center, power forward. You juggling all these hats,
by
man.
any means
You're doing
necessary.
a good job at it.
Look, if we use a college football analogy, you Reggie Bush. Look, we use you as a running back, split you out as a wide receiver. You know what I mean? Look,
exactly.
Maybe even kickoff returner, get all types of all-purpose yards in terms of going far, man.
I'm telling you.
Man, for all seasons
in
terms of yeah, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man, about where you're from, how you got started in the industry, you know, your influences, you know, business and music-wise. I mean, this time is yours, man. You know, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I'm from D-Land, Florida, a little town called D-Land, man. Like, I don't know, about 20, 30 minutes away from Orlando, about 30 minutes away from Daytona. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm from. As far as music, my dad, he was a manager when I was growing up. So, you know, that pretty much baptized me into that whole ism to music, and not just the music, but the industry part or the business part, because that's what he taught me first. And he made sure I understood the business part before I even recorded a track or anything of that nature. So, but outside of that, man, like I said, shout out to my dad, man. You know, he's an inventor as well. You know what I'm saying? So that inspired me to do a lot of different outside of the box type of things. You know what I'm saying? As far as musical influences are concerned, probably the first person I really listened to was Michael Jackson, honestly. Because it really was just, he had that it factor, you know what I'm saying? Where to the point to where it was like, all right, well, yeah, whatever he's doing, you know he's doing it right. Because nobody was doing anything like him. He's the first artist I would have moved. I mean, you know, I guess you could flip a coin between him and Prince, but I think his movie was first. Not sure. You know, like, that was the first one that I saw. You know, and as far as, like, rap influences, you know, you got Outkast, Snoop Dogg's, and, you know, those are the guys that I came up really listening to. You know, a little bit of Wu-Tang in there when I was young. A little Method Man, a little Takal. You know what I'm saying? That was my first CD. 8-Ball MJG. You know what I'm saying? The homies from the Tennessee area. You know what I'm saying? And also Uncle Luke, man, with the booty shaking music, man. Luke Skywalker, man. He really opened the door. Me being from Florida, he opened the door. He fought politically for people to be able to have the right to say what they want on their music, because that was a major issue at the time.
That was back in 1987 that was in 1987, as a matter of fact, when they had that case in Florida about the obscenity, correct? Where they would do the song banned in the USA, and that came from but that case officially came from that album As Nasty as They Wanna Be, where the state of Florida, one of the judges had tried to rule it was obscene, and they tried to ban their music in Florida, and that's when they had to go to court for it.
Yeah, they went to Supreme Court, if I'm not mistaken, too.
The state Supreme Court, yes, sir, and they ruled in their favor in terms of free speech. I was a young buck back in the day, but y'all have a rich musical tradition down in Florida, of course. 69 Boys, Magic Mike,
absolutely.
Yeah, man. I mean.
Shout out to JT Money, man. Shout out to Trick Daddy. Shout out to that whole culture was set by Uncle Luke, Poison Clan. But that whole, but Uncle Luke set the temperature for all that. So
definitely. Now, one thing about it, as King, stated, you are a one-man, machine in terms of having all these tremendous talents, balancing. Doing a juggling act that would make, knife, and fire jugglers jealous. In terms of, your dad laying down the genealogy in terms of what you will learn, tell us about your first foray into the business in terms of, really getting into it in terms of when you started rhyming, and then the actual business aspect from every perspective of how it got you to where it was today, in terms of from your start to where you are now.
Okay, well, basically, for sure, I know that to start off with, I remember when I was young, like I said, one of my first musical influences was Michael Jackson. So, I thought I could sing, then my voice changed, that was dead issue. You know what I'm saying? So I had to make some adjustments on that end. As far as, that was before. All of that was before I actually started really taking music seriously, though, because that didn't happen for some time to come. That didn't happen until years later when I actually started taking music serious and stuff like that. But after that happened, and my dad, he would give me, different little missions to do, like remixing songs and writing additional verses, and I didn't understand the importance of that, but he was trying to show me how to keep my music within the context of the song, and based on the actual meaning of the song and what direction, what kind of vibe, what kind of feel the song had. So I did that for a while, and then about 2001, I entered into my first basically recording contract with an independent label. My dad arranged it, and I got signed. I believe it was M2K Records. Shout out to Clutch. It was in Orlando. It was 2001. But one of the first things that he had me do, I'm thinking that I'm gonna just start recording, and that's not what happened. What happened was we ended up. He was like, "All right, we'll come to my house, Saturday, and we're gonna get started." And he actually had me help him build a studio from the ground up. And in my mind, I was like, well, what does this have to do with what I want to do recording? But it gave me a tremendous respect for the engineering that goes behind even the making of the studio. Understanding that before you can build a house, you have to lay the foundation. And then building that studio, that was the foundation, and that's, what I'm saying, of everything. So that was how that started, and then I had a couple little a couple good little ditty bops, little songs, whatever, whatnot. But I still wasn't taking it seriously. And I remember I went to prison in 2004, and when I went to prison in 2004, that is pretty much what really made me wanna. Okay, I've been doing, I did some remixes and stuff like that. My dad had a project he had me redo. He owned a group the masters to a group called Deep South Players, and he had me basically remix their whole album. You know what I'm saying? Which was cool. I added verses to like probably like 7 out of the 13 or 14 songs on their album. You know what I'm saying? And we released it, which was cool. But when I came home from prison, I also thought that I could, be in the streets full time and do music. That was another hard lesson that I had to learn. Because I learned emphatically that unfortunately, you can't be head first in music and head first in the streets. Because I guarantee you one of them is going to suffer, if not both of them. So that's a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. I was, came home from prison. I was young. Where I worked out a little bit for about 18 months. Came home. I'm thinking I'm Superman. So, I really didn't have no understanding for a lot of stuff. Being head first into everything, and then and I did start to take it seriously. Like around that time, but I just wasn't ready to be committed to it. So if I could fast forward a little bit, probably like 3 years, 2009, 2010, early 2010, my first baby mother, she actually, we were married, and because I wanted to get married when I came from prison, so we were married, and but I was in the streets, so I was cheating on her and things of that nature. But she knew. It wasn't like a secret or nothing. But that took its toll. So, and over the course of 2006 or 2010, we were together. But then 2010, she decided that she was going to leave me. And I mean, when I say leave me, she told me she was working that day. She had that day off, and she literally, I was doing whatever I was doing. And when I came back, her stuff was gone. She left my kids with our best friend that we lived with. But, she was gone. It was over with. So what that made me do, at first, that really actually kind of messed me up in the head. But what it made me do was it made me focus on music, because all that emotion that I had in that situation, I had to redirect it. I had to learn alchemy. I had to transmute all those base emotions and energies into a whole different frequency, So that's what I ended up doing. And then I started working at this club in Daytona, which at the time was the biggest club in Volusia County. And then so I started being a promoter for them. And then at the time that year, I believe it was the only year they ever did this. That year they brought probably 8 major acts, from Rick Ross to Plies. At that time, Plies was one of the hardest artists out. And Webbie,
coming out of Fort Myers.
That's how I met Webbie and his team. And during that course of the time, not to cut you off, but during the course of the time, that's how I really started climbing into having the connections of people that were actually actively in the music industry. So that's what laid that foundation for me to do that.
Wow.
And then, it's a lot. So when you asked me that question, that was a loaded question you asked me.
Well, one thing about it, though, we appreciate the honesty and the candor, because not many people would disclose that much. But yet and still, we can see, from, your experiences, from, of course, incarceration to, a relationship that didn't work out. But, where many people emotionally that would have shattered, you stayed strong and you had to focus. And one thing about it, too, Will, you made a great point, is that a lot of times, because we hear about a lot of individuals who get into the game in terms of music, but they still play in the streets. But they understand that in terms of that transition, it's like, it's like a situation with Jeezy, a good friend of mine, and of course I know a story, and Jeezy was talking about, how he was in the streets, but he wanted to start his label, but then niggas kept getting locked up or killed or what have you, and he was like, I ended up having to do it myself. I had all this equipment, and I had to realize that ultimately, I had to make that transition. So there's always a goal that you have to know, and in terms of understanding which direction you want to go. And for you to get, like you said, you were at a club that was like the biggest club. I mean, you figure with Plies involved, because I know Plies, I know he's from Fort Myers.
Right.
Matter of fact, one of his first songs was "Tell Them Crackers That," and that was one of the first.
Right.
That was one of his early songs that actually got him out there. And of course.
And Bond Money. That one and Bond Money.
Okay, I didn't know about Bond Money, but I know a little bit about.
You ain't know about Bond Money? Oh my God. Yeah, that was amazing. 36 ounces off the 36 ounces mixtape.
I know a little bit about Plies coming from down there, in terms of of course, with him and Big Gates, shout out to Ronell, yeah, but he had a little, he was bubbling down there, but that was my first introduction here in that song, Tell Them Crackers That. That was my first introduction, of course, with Ross, of course, being with Slip and Slide, at first, well, actually,
right.
he wasn't even with them at first. He was with
Suave House.
Right. Suave House with Tony Draper. Yes, exactly. And that first album.
There.
Yeah, that was with the Rise to Power project. And that was before he would, of course, get with, Trina. It was on that track she did for what was that? It's failing me right now, and I'm mad at myself because I be knowing this shit. The joint with Ice Cube movie came out in 2002. What was that, King? Yes, sir.
All About the Benjamins.
Thank you. All About the Benjamins. Yeah, Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he had his verse of this. So what was it like in terms of really connect? Because I'm assuming you connected with these individuals right
absolutely.
Before they before their stardom was coming.
Yeah, well, I mean, my basic job was just the promotion of the concerts, but me being the son of an inventor, I created a way to be able to do more than that, to where when they come to the club, I was one of the first people they talk to, or on the way to the club, I might have found a way to contact them, so to help guide them into the club, or maybe after the club they might have needed party favors. I made sure that I was the guy that got called to do that. I just found different ways to make connections with them outside of the music. You know what I'm saying? Which is really important. Which is a really important thing, especially anybody who's looking to. Because I hear people all the time, well, I'm going to move to Atlanta and I'm going to get on doing music. That sounds good, but what they don't understand is that Atlanta is an overpopulated area where as far as music, to where everybody and their mother does music. So you have to have a skill set outside of music that you do. People don't want to hear about the album or the song that you got. They don't care about that. They want to know, what else are you doing? What else do you bring to the table? What are you, an asset or a liability? What kind of leverage are you bringing? You know what I'm saying? What can you do to help complement their project? And that's basically something that I learned the hard way before I moved to Atlanta. But when I went, I seen for myself, like, okay, this is different, because you're not just finna just go and pass out your mixtape to everybody. That's not how that goes. You have to have other things to offer, because again, everybody does music, like especially today. In today's age, where you can record a song on your phone.
Now, Will, to get so I can.
Yeah, it goes like.
Oh, go ahead, King.
Yeah, it also goes like Hollywood, man. Like, if you trying to get yourself into acting, and people say you move to Hollywood, it's an oversaturated land. Just like Atlanta.
Absolutely. It's funny because I'm calling you from Hollywood right now. Like, that's a fact, 100% fact right now.
Wow.
And Will, I know you've heard that joke that they say in Hollywood about 80% of the actors don't work because you got so many out there trying to get on.
Absolutely.
Now, also, Will, too, I wanted to ask you this to give our listeners more clarity. What year did you move to Atlanta? Because I want to give our listeners clarity in terms of really for them to really understand what I'm about to say next.
Okay. I moved to Atlanta, I want to say at the beginning of 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the beginning of 2018 when I actually moved to Atlanta. I lived there for a year and a half. I still have connections there. They still book me for shows. I got a show there on the 27th at the BMF Takeover at the Kiss Ultra Lounge. We one of our first connections in Atlanta was Young Jock. That's my DJ's cousin. So like that's kind of how we moved about the city. We were already plugged in with him, and we just worked that connect because he's a very connected individual. I don't know why people think he fell off, but he definitely didn't. He owns a lot of property.
Yeah. And I asked you that about what year you moved to Atlanta because Atlanta has a very rich musical history, and, you know, you moved there in 2018, so when you got there, and I want to let our listeners know about this because when you're dealing with Atlanta, you're dealing going back almost 30 years with Chris Cross, TLC, with, you know, Dallas Austin. Of course, you had Babyface, who moved from Indiana.
Babyface, very rich.
L.A. Reid. Yeah, so you figure, and of course Monica, you know, in 1995 when she dropped her Miss Thing album. But I said that to say, of course, I think Kid Money and Slack Pack, I believe they were from there too as well. So you're dealing with a social scene that was already bubbling, of course. And this is not, I haven't even mentioned the sports franchise, of course, with the Braves and the Falcons. So you're dealing with a party city, and this was during the time, of course, before we really go to the present day. This is when Eric Sermon had his rim shop on Peachtree. You know, so the city was bubbling for so long that it created this infrastructure that ultimately the Jeezys, the Gucci's, the T.I.'s, you know, the Young Jocks, you know, the Futures, all these niggas was going to come from that scene. And, of course, nigga, we ain't even talking about Magic City. We can't even talk about Atlanta.
That's its own economy. The strip clubs in Atlanta are its own economy.
So, to give context to what you said, Will, that's why I asked, because our listeners have to understand Atlanta and Reese over the past 25 years had become the go-to place for a lot of artists. And like you said, the infrastructure... Yeah, the entertainment infrastructure, and like you said, the strip club economy was self-sustaining. So it was just something where it became congested. So like you said, you really had to have a talent that stood outside of music because it was so many. Yeah, I mean, so in terms of
that's kind of because, you know, like I've always heard, you know, it's better to be ace of one than a jack of all trades. Well, because I've always been that guy who knew how to do a bunch of stuff, but a lot of people portray that as a liability. But as I guess the music industry grew into what it is today, I adapted to that. It actually ends up being a blessing because that gave me the thirst to want to learn more about different things outside of just, you know, being an artist, which is a passion of mine for sure. So it doesn't matter, you know, how rich I am or how old I get. I'm still gonna always want to do music, you know. So in other words, it just comes from young, because a lot of people just want to do music just so they can make money. If that's your end goal, then you're in trouble with music, because that means that you can be bought and sold at a low price, because that means that you have a number in your mind that you can automatically and I work with major labels. I just signed a deal with Universal, but it's not a conventional deal either. You know what I'm saying? But so, you know, it just means you have a price and that you can be bought. Everything I deal with music is based on my vision of passion that I have for the actual music. The love that I have for music in general allows me to push past the parts where I may not make what I want to make or feel like I'm worth, or when somebody needs something done, they don't want to pay for it, but it's going to be beneficial as far as relationships are concerned. I always keep that in mind, and that's something that hinders people because they try to nickel and dime every single person. It's okay to set your price, and that's what you're supposed to do, but don't get confused with that, between that and understanding that your network is equal exactly to your net worth. And so the larger your network, the more people that you network with or work with, you know, the more your net worth becomes. You know what I'm saying? I don't really think people really quite grasp that all the way. I wish they did.
Now you think that with Universal and a lot of artists, they tell a lot of artists come in, and today they talk about the independent machine and rather going independent versus going to the majors. And do you care to tell us the pros and the cons of dealing with a major?
There are the cons. I'm gonna say the cons is probably the time frame that it takes to release music. It's a little archaic. Well, 6 to 8 weeks. Then that's once you have all the paperwork and has established your marketing plan, have that paperwork together, and and have all the requirements or prerequisites for your release, even just digitally. It's still a 6 to 8 week. 6 to 8 week wait period. So that's probably the biggest con. The pros is the access to the network, because my network has increased. I've only been with them since January 14th, but it's just the networking that's come with it has been tremendous. So I definitely got to give that as a pro and a con.
Definitely. And one thing or two I wanted to ask you, Will, in terms of the independent route, because a lot of people, how important is it in terms of having the independent, in terms of not, let me recalibrate my inquiry. Okay, a lot of people like the idea of being on the independent hustle, but how important is it to have your business on an independent hustle intact? Because a lot of people want to talk that boss talk, but they don't understand the brains that it takes to run it, but they're in love with the idea of what entrepreneurship means.
Okay, if you're talking about being independent and you're not familiar with coding or the Harry Fox Foundation, then you probably should seek help. Get you an entertainment lawyer, and just go from there. Because a lot of people are worried about managers and management, but they're not even to that point yet.
Right.
So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. It's very important. You have to have all of your business paperwork-wise together before you should consider just being independent, because that just puts a big target on you. It's a great thing if you have your business together, but it's a lot of work involved in that if you don't have a team. I've been blessed to have a tremendous team. Shout out to people like Meela, AR, Hot Noise, Gary Matthews at Off the Block, Derek Johnson with Savage Life Entertainment, to the big homie Calico Jones, the people have helped me tremendously. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a team. Shout out to Christopher Wills, my business partner, the other half of Full Circle Music Group. You know what I'm saying? And I have more than one company. I have Full Circle Music Group, and I have Celebrity Status Entertainment, which is a music group and entertainment. They both serve different purposes. One is more management, booking agency, and the other one performs the function of a record label. So that's it's about having your team. If you don't know how to do everything, then you got to have your team together.
Definitely.
And you got some heavy gems about having the team, man, because it's like, when a lot of artists, they get into the game, they don't really have a team together. They come in with the poverty mindset. Like, they come in from impoverished backgrounds. They like, man, I got to sign this. I got to get on.
Right.
See, when you have a solid team behind you, people that know the game and know, numbers, because I've said this many times, I've seen a lot of these music contracts, and they like encyclopedias. When you start seeing all these numbers and weird word verbiage and all that. So when you have a solid team with you, you can pretty much get a better deal for yourself.
Exactly.
Now,
for real.
And now one thing about it, and also too, because we want to ask you this, Trill Entertainment with Savage Life Entertainment with Webbie. How did that come across? How did that come with y'all linking up?
Well, that goes back to the club that I worked for in 2010. That was one of the first. It was there was Plies, and then it was him. It was Webbie. Like a month or so later. And that it just became more than I got the information and I went to the hotel and hung out. But over the process, it became okay. Well, we're going out of state to Texas. Why don't you pull up out here and come help us promote out here? And then it went from that to, okay, well, shit, you rap too. Hey, well, we put you on a show, and then just building a relationship outside of, music first is such a big, important thing. You know what I'm saying? Even with dealing with people that's quote unquote in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Just building a relationship. Relationships are currency in the industry, in the music business.
There they are. And one thing I'm really interests me, because especially, being blessed to have met a lot of people that I've met, and being at a lot of shows. In terms of being a promoter, and I can tell this story because there's no fuckery behind it. It's just some situations, it's not naming names in terms of the promoters, but it was a situation out here some years ago. Because once I tell the story, I want you to give us some game in terms of how important it is, sort of in terms of what the promoter does and what the promoter needs to do to have the business straight. Because, shout out to Young Doll, Paper Route Entertainment. So he was supposed to do a show out here some years ago, and there was out here in Virginia. So there was a promoter supposed to bring him. So, and a lot of times, and correct me at any point that I start getting it all disfigured on the dialogue, but usually a lot of times, depending on the artist, there's a agreed upon fee, and depending on, there's the money that you're going to pay them before they come, and then sometimes,
and then you have the back end.
Right, and exactly, you're very clairvoyant, because that's what happened with this situation. So apparently, he had they had I think it was like $26,000, and I think the promoter had maybe, I don't know, I'd heard stuff that maybe he had like 20,000, he had like 15, but he didn't have the whole 26. So Dolph didn't perform. Like Michael Corleone said, it's never personal, just business. How important, in terms of being, because you definitely have more knowledge of this, in terms, ideally, for a promoter, what should the promoter have in terms of how they secure the venue and then making sure that the money is taken care of from all parties? How should that, ideally, how should it work?
Well, this is the thing that I always work with when I talk to promoters or people who are looking to get into promoting. I always tell them, if you can't afford the artist 3 times over, then you should not bring the artist. And what that means is that if you just have enough to just pay the artist one time to come, you probably shouldn't be bringing the artist. You probably should be working on putting a different event together to bring people in, as opposed to bringing the artist. Because depending on the market, your promotion and your marketing is going to be different levels of cost. And on top of that, you have to be able to cover any incidents that happen. And that includes artists not showing up, artists being late, money coming up missing. The artist doesn't have anything to do with any of that. So you have to be able to cover that 100,000% on your own outside of whatever's going on. Paperwork is definitely a must. You have to have contracts ensuring that the correct amount is going to be deposited before and the correct amount is going to be there after. Security is important for you. You might be like, well, who's your promoter? Well, you still need security for yourself because the promoters get robbed all the time. They do. It's not new. But the main thing with the money, though, is making sure you got more than enough money to pay for the artist multiple times, at least 2 or 3 times, over, to where it's not going to hurt you to have to come out of your own pocket to pay for the back end. Don't use far as trying to, because a lot of artists or a lot of promoters that try to say, okay, well, I'm going to get the back end from the front door. And what happens is sometimes that doesn't pan out. and the artist, it has nothing to do with that. They don't want to hear it, and they shouldn't want to hear why you don't have your back end because it was raining, and black people don't like rain. As true as that is, that has nothing to do with the actual artist. You're booking them for a service, which was not dependent on who came or how many people came to that show.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you
so
know, that's something real. And I think that also, too...
it's a tricky business with it itself.
Yeah, and it's also, too, you have to look at a venue in terms of in terms of what the capacity is, because there's what you call your club and then your arena, which are two different prices because you're dealing with capacity that also dictates the money behind it in terms of what you charge, because you have a lot of artists who charge for two different venues, like for what they may charge to do Madison Square, and then what they may charge for a club, you know, which has two different seating capacities.
Madison Square because it's more room, right?
Right, but like you said, but when you have that money, you know, there are a lot of incidents, a lot of what ifs, hypotheses that can come behind it in terms of stuff happening. Like you said, you know, you bring in, so to speak, somebody like Future, and Future is charging maybe $70. You got to have at least maybe $200,000, you know, ideally stashed away just in case, like you said, something happens, to where
right.
You know, you can take care of everything, you know. And then we, you know, like you said, we didn't even mention the rider list in terms of, like you said, what the celebrities might want once they get there.
Yeah, that's all based on your paperwork. That's why I stress the contract and all that's going to be covered in your paperwork. You know, the paperwork is going to tell you what the rider is and how much that's going to cost, and including the room and board and the clothes if they require clothes. Like Webbie, when Webbie comes, he requires a new outfit. You know, that's part of his rider. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, Lord.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
back.
man.
Wow.
It's
usually 6 to 8 rooms. You know what I'm saying? 4 to 6 rooms, depending on how many people are with them on the road. You know, so
right.
Like I've been all over the United States with Webbie and Boosie, and yeah, it's an interesting thing, man. But that's a real thing. They want to have them clothes. They take that dead serious.
Now, one thing about it too, and I don't mean to be, you know, to try, you know, to rear end you or sideswipe you with this question, because you know, of course, Trill, Savage Life Entertainment, of course, Webbie, you know, Boosie. Rest in peace, Little Fat. When he was murdered, how did that affect that whole movement with all of you in terms of what you all were doing at the time?
That was like right when I started working with them, so that was a very
got you.
confusing time because you know, we have different alliances within that company that I can't really talk about, and that affected everything tremendously. So
understood. Yeah, but I wanted to ask that question because it's about, you know, in terms of understanding and reference of your artist, and just, you know, when you're working in this business, there's a lot of things that happen in the business. You know, you were on the block, so you understand how you have to really be abreast of everything in terms of making certain separations in reference to making sure.
That's what, and that was back to my point where you can't really live in the streets, you know what I'm saying, and think that you're going to be in the street at the same time. It doesn't really go like that.
Hey guys, hold on 1 second. I think we have a caller on.
Okay.
It's a 702 caller. We finally get some love here. Hopes this person can send us a donation. The Cash App is ready. 702, you on?
Caller, can you hear us?
Come on, 702.
Come on, Vegas.
Cold feet. I got my Cash App open right now. $King Eric 82. I need all the donations. Hold on, I'm gonna bring him back.
Who it is. Okay, we're gonna bring him back. Yeah. So so definitely will. So what have you seen in terms of social media, how that's affected the music game in terms of how you have a lot of artists who come in, but who are using that to propel themselves to what they perceive as fame, well, celebrity, but not actual fame. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't really care for it per se, only because you only get an illusory idea of somebody's popularity based off of social media. But however, be though as it may, you have to have it. It's very necessary evil. It's a median. It's a median that allows the artist to have control over the connection and response, and really be able to interact with their fan base. So it's extremely important, and it's becoming a very sharp barometer for the temperature of an artist, as far as what kind of interaction are they getting, with their fans, and what kind of feedback they're getting from certain music or things that they might have done outside of music. So it's a double-edged sword. It's definitely good and bad, like anything else.
Yeah, we talk on this show a lot about it.
We got
in terms
702
of
back now.
a lot of artists. Okay, we got 702 back.
I think we got 702.
No, you know what
back
happened,
on
guys?
now.
I had the phone. Look, I had it on and I had it on mute, so I was talking to you all, but you guys didn't hear me. This is Meela.
Hey,
Hello.
Magical Meela.
You guys know that.
What's up,
I
Meela?
appreciate you guys. Hi, putting together, and that I'm supporting out here and stuff. I'm really proud of everybody. But really good questions that you guys are asking, and both you guys, because it's like, if I can say with all the people that I've worked with over the years and stuff, and meeting Trill and seeing how he handles business, but not just him, everybody he works with, like his whole crew, the whole FCMG, like on the business level, as an artist level, on us, they have all the components that you need to be successful, and that's why he's like kicking ass, like, what I'm saying, putting things out, this consistency. It takes a long time. It takes a long time to find people to work with that, and I can honestly, it feels good to be able to set up things and with somebody that I have no qualms that he's not gonna be absolutely awesome. And the thing is, he's not even a great artist and everything, but a really good human being that, very humble and he's a superstar, but you never get that from his ego. It's I really am grateful that, I get to be part of your guys' life in some ways. And with the radio station too, this is my first call. I'm excited. Anyways.
Meela.
Great.
Guys.
Meela.
Thank you, Meela. I appreciate the love, Meela. Thank you.
And Meela, we got to say this. We got to say this about you too, Meela. We know how hard you have worked, your tireless efforts, your endless endeavoring, your dedication. We know you've been through some things, but one thing about it is, through all the ups and downs, you've always persevered. You pushed through. You've always stood strong. You've always stood upright. You have been talented. You have been so real. You have been so sincere.
You're make me cry.
And we really, really, really appreciate, your friendship, your support, and you here with us. You sound vibrant, and that's a beautiful thing. And we're just so happy. You're with us.
I do, and it is. I don't know. You guys got me on chairs and stuff like that. If I wrote, that's you guys do that for me. You know what I mean? When energy and frequencies connect, that it just motivates me. So look, I can really talk. I get excited and all that stuff, and that's how it's supposed to be. That's how people are supposed to, when I'm listening to you guys talk and I'm listening to Trill talk and all that stuff, and it's inspiring, but it's uplifting. There's no negativity. It didn't matter where the questions were. He handled it right. There was no argument. It was really, people don't understand, those things are important. And you had real conversation. There's a lot of times people don't know how to have real conversations. And the questions that you asked were depth questions. They weren't just superficial questions, you know what I mean? Because there's more than an artist than them just wanting to put out there and make money and all that stuff, because they're not anything about that. And that's why there's such a solidified union, with Christopher and all of them. They have a really tight, niche family. And man, I want to be a part of it, like in every which way. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Anyway,
one thing about
okay,
it,
I'm done.
it's okay. It's okay. You know, this is your first time calling, and this
Sorry,
is Will's
Trill, I'm
first
taking
time
over
being
your
on the
interview.
show.
My bad.
It's okay. It's okay because it's okay because one thing about it, you know, with y'all really being, this is y'all first introduction to us. Really, of course, like you said, with you calling and Will being with us. One thing about it with Off the Cuff, you know, and this is of course King's vision. This is his baby. One thing we have always, like when we talked with Cocaine earlier, the one thing we have always held ourselves up to is the standard of high journalism, and we're not on the air to air out our guests. You know, we're not here to embarrass. We're not here to get into any type of argument. We've had healthy debates, but we are about
I mean, not to interrupt you, but it's not even about it. And also, here's the thing. You know, there's so many people doing shows and all that stuff. But, you know, part of it is about making relationships with movements. And that, you know what I mean? Because the integrity of your journalism matches their movement. And the people that I bring to you are those, like, you know, and you guys understand that. You know, because I know you work with Clinton, you have the West Coast. Like, you know, Trill and this, they're taking all over the Southeast, like, you know what I mean, and beyond. So, you know, it's, you know, you guys are explaining the story more so, you know what I mean? So it is not to make it's not just me scheduling an interview, but this should be like the beginning of a relationship on some type of level and some type of, you know, whatever it is. But, you know, like, do you know what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah. And the thing is, we want. This is why. Yes, I'm going to say it. We have the best show out there because I don't think anybody does what we do in terms of how we bring what we do. You know, to have this conversation with Will like we've had, man, it's like he's given us so much jewels. You know, in terms of, matter of fact, we need to have him back on.
It's good to learn from our guests as well.
What I was trying to say in a long way was basically that. And actually, I would have him like quite often because the movement that he's making, it not only is giving a lot of information to a lot of artists, but he's also keeping you guys up on what's going out in the game because you guys can only get so much. But if you got somebody that's really, really playing the part, like the whole part, you know what I mean? Because he had a great answer for everything and the right answer for everything that you guys have asked him. And you want somebody like that because you guys give each other confirmation.
Exactly.
So
thank you, I appreciate that.
You need to double push him, double, triple is what I'm trying to say, guys.
Yeah, we got you on that. That's no doubt right there because that's what makes us enjoy what we do. It's like, it don't feel like an interview. It feel like just homeboys and homegirls just vibing. And we also getting a lot of jewels in the midst as well.
Definitely. But that's what we do, you know. And
do you know that he's the first artist in 18 years I've been working with somebody that actually, as soon as I asked him for information, he had it ready. He had an EPK ready and all that stuff. So
that's electronic press kit for those that don't know. You need to have one if you don't have one.
I'm telling you, that's how important it is. Like, he's the first one, 18 years, bro. 18 years. Okay, that's the first time I said they had one ready, and that first thing they sent. First time.
I just sent all my electronic press kit as well, just so y'all have an idea what she's talking about.
I think I forwarded it to them, but you can send it. I send them all your information, all your links, everything, Trill. Cool. Website, the Full Music Group, website, all that. I send them every link you can think that I could find that you have. Huh, Eric?
Thank you, Meela. I appreciate it. You're a very hard-working individual. Everything you do is appreciated and not overlooked. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Well, I guess we need to ask Will too about that EPK. Will, in terms of EPK, because a lot of artists, it goes back to the social media. They're looking at their social media because Meela brought this up. Like when she said you're the first artist she's dealt with in 18 years that had that ready. A lot of artists don't understand. This is basically a job in terms of being in the industry. So you have to have your EPK, which is your job interview. How important is that to have all your media situation taken care of so when you're bringing it to a prospective company, they know exactly what you have in terms of what you're all about with your product and your branding.
It's so important that I will not do business with an artist or a company until I've either seen their EPK or they've allowed us to create one for them. Just for the simple, you are going to work with us and you are looking to, obviously you want some of the resources that we have and some of the network that we have, which is fine. But in order to do that, we have to be able to send them one link with your history, bio, press pictures, whatever links connected to YouTube or your other social media in one place. And your social media cannot and will never be able to substitute an electronic press kit. It's a great, now Instagram is a great introduction. When you meet people, okay, here's my Instagram. Okay, oh, you've got 100,000 followers. Okay, so now we know we can say, oh, you've got a verified check. Okay, so we know that we can take you seriously. That's cool.
Right.
That's just the introductory. They're going to want to see what else we have going on outside of that. And so instead of going through all the individual 100 links that you might have to send them or 10, why not have everything in one place where it looks professional and presentable along with the press photos that
definitely.
Because if you see how much movement Trill has had in the last 6 months, it was all because he was prepared. And every opportunity that was presented to him, I'm sure he didn't miss one opportunity. And not only did he hit every opportunity, he created a whole bunch of other ones came to him, and he was prepared for them too. So he was supposed to he didn't have to pause, right, Trill? You can build. He was ready for everybody. That's what it means when you're ready. For artists that are listening.
Well, I think that
that's a great
kind
point.
of what happens to these kids when they get their one hit wonder thing going on with TikTok. The song takes off on TikTok and they got a number one song on TikTok. But if you don't have a team in place to follow what needs to come after that to capitalize off of that, it means nothing.
You saying TikTok? I'm taking it back to the old days when Kilo had that joint. TikTok.
Yeah,
you brought up an interesting point. Meela brought up an interesting point about having organization, about how you present yourself when you're doing promotion. Because I'm gonna say one thing before we leave, because we gotta go off the air. But one of the biggest headaches in this business, and I learned this, is being a manager. People don't understand, managing an artist, that's like being a grown man babysitter.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, my God, that's why I don't want to.
And keep in mind, with this young guy that I met, very talented individual, very talented. And I had him set up for a deal. I had him set up a deal with Snoop. I had the WWE to use a song so that he could get paid. So I had all that set up for dude. And come to find out, he didn't even call. He didn't even show up. I'm like, Jesus Christ! I had you and your family ready to set off to the motherland, and you just dropped the ball.
But that's,
he could have had video game money. He could have moved out the projects.
But like you said, King, and like y'all said, managing is a different monster, because one thing about it is on one hand of it, you're responsible for guiding that artist's career, which is what a manager does, but it's also making sure. But the one thing is, you may have the vision for the artist, but the artist has to have the ambition and determination and drive that matches your vision for what you're trying to achieve. And sometimes with some artists out there, they just a lot of artists are mercurial in terms of their approach, and you don't know what it's going to be day to day with them. And sometimes the hardest thing is keeping them on track, and that's we've seen artists that they just act wild, and we're thinking, man, this manager got their hands full of this motherfucker right here. Oh my God.
I'm telling you.
So You know, it's like, and, you know, we've seen situations, you know, then you get some people get out all on the ground talking wild, and we're like, this is the manager. Why the manager going crazy? And it's like, you work with the artist. You earn the artist branding, you know, but that's something that, it's all about making sure that everybody's on the same accord, and there has to be responsibility from all sides. And, you know, while the manager, you know, handles a career, the artist has to be equally as responsible in maintaining their professional image, because at the end of the day, you know, if an artist if an artist develops a bad reputation, that means they don't get paid, which means the manager don't get paid, which means nobody gets paid, and everybody got played in the process.
Right.
So the whole thing about what you just said is so true, to the point to where everybody's trying to get paid, but everybody's trying to get paid because they have this illusion that they believe money will make them happy. Well, I got a newsflash. Right. Money won't make you happy, but I'm going to tell you what does. Accountability. When you are at a full stage of accountability for what you do and don't do, that creates happiness.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
But, hey, guys, I got to sign out, man, because they gave me that warning, but we appreciate y'all for chopping it up with us, man. It was a great privilege for y'all to grace us with the show. Big shout out to you, Meela.
You do a wonderful job. Let me take over a little. Thanks, guys.
Meela,
you know that interview's coming with you soon. You can't duck me this time. You done got a little experience. You've been ducking me for 4 years now.
I know, right? And I just see, Trill, you're 4 years they've been trying to get me to call in and do this stuff, and this is the first time ever in my life. But yeah, I was like, I'm calling in, and then I couldn't find how to call in. I was like, shit, let me just call this number.
It's like now you got some experience under your belt, so now we got to set that up for the spring. You got to pull up now.
Gosh, I don't know. You guys, I will take over your guys' show because I wouldn't even let you guys speak. You already know that.
All right,
Meela, we're so happy to hear from you. Look, I'll be dropping you the line in the Facebook Messenger just to just be checking on you, making sure you're good and everything. But it's so great to hear from you again.
You guys both always check on me, and I really appreciate you. It means a lot.
Well, you mean a lot to us, so the feeling is mutual. And Will, your wisdom. We're doing some major stuff. Like I can already see all the success for all you guys. So I'm just excited because I already know what's going to happen. I just want you guys to be able to see it or enjoy it. Like I can already see it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Well, the fact is we all going to enjoy it. And Will, as well as Meela, Will, you have an open door. We got a red carpet rolled out for you anytime you want to come back on. Any projects you have.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
Yes, I mean, look, there's still so much we got to chop it up with, man. But, we got a great introduction to you. We thank you for your time. We appreciate, all your jewels, man. And don't let this be the last time you stop by, man. Come back anytime, man. We're going to chop it up some more. Meela, same to you. Thank you so much.
I'm just telling you, you guys need to keep tabs on him because he's going to be hot as hell. So, you guys right now, I can't help you. Do it for you guys because I'm letting you in it, I'm letting you in. So keep tabs on him. I'm gonna tell you, it's a movement.
Oh yeah, we definitely on.
I appreciate everybody. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate you, Meela. Thank you for making that happen. Definitely not gonna be the last time. I feel like we didn't even touch anything. We just barely got a little introductory course, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? We're going to definitely keep it moving. I do want to give a couple shout-outs before I get off of here. Shout out to my business partner, DJ YG. Shout out to Christopher Wills for Full Circle Music Group, my business partner. I want to give a shout-out to all my producers. I want to give a shout-out to Derek Johnson. And everybody else that we worked with, AR, Gary Matthews, Lady D, I'll be here all day. But I do want to thank everybody that's part of the movement, part of the team. And that's what's up.
Okay, and Will, I'm going to hit King up about, I'm going to have some information on the King, and maybe all three of us can chop it up because I got to connect with somebody on a publication, and if you're interested, if you're in appearing in maybe in a magazine or what have you to tell your story, I can get in touch with them. So.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay, definitely.
Yes,
so
already.
I'll get So we'll get with
Let's
So
work,
I'll talk
y'all.
with King off the air about that.
Yeah, so we definitely gonna be working, y'all. So I'm gonna let everybody know we're gonna be on Sunday night. We're gonna be having Jay Hood and Big Twins from the infamous Mob, along with my man Pittsburgh Pat. Sunday night at 9 p.m. 6 Pacific, 8 Central Time. Be sure to tune in. Big shout out to both of y'all and my man T Max with the facts for putting this show together. So we out of here. Holla back at me.
Yeah. All right.